All right, let's dive right in. Imagine for a second a complete, government-funded blueprint, not for a bridge or a highway, but to reshape the entire social and ethical fabric of a nation. Well, that's exactly what we're looking at today. It's a proposal coming out of Bangladesh called Bhorer Quran, and trust me, its ambition is absolutely staggering. And this quote here from Guru Delawar Hussain, wow, it really sets the stage, doesn't it? This tells you right away we're not just talking about some minor policy suggestion. No, this is framed as a response to a critical moment for the nation, a crossroads that demands a deep, fundamental shift. So this whole vision, it's actually part of a much bigger work called The Architects of Tomorrow. And get this, it's described as a manifesto. I mean, that's a powerful word, right? It's basically a strategic roadmap that aims to tackle huge systemic issues like corruption and social injustice, all with the goal of building a more stable and prosperous country. Okay, so we know the ambition is huge. But what's the specific problem that this Bhorer Quran initiative is actually supposed to solve? Well, according to the people who wrote it, the country is facing what they call a crisis of clarity. Now, what does a crisis of clarity actually mean? Well, at the very heart of this proposal is a core belief that a lot of the customs and stories people practice today, they actually contradict the original teachings of the Qur'an. And the authors argue this isn't just some abstract theological debate. They believe it's the root cause of very real-world problems, things like social confusion and even intolerance. And they actually have a specific name for these kinds of narratives, Lahuwal Hadith. And it's really important to get what they mean by this. It's the term they use to describe what they define as baseless, or non-Quranic reports and stories that have kind of just been absorbed into everyday social and religious life. So, to tackle this whole crisis of clarity, the manifesto doesn't just point out the problem, it lays out a very specific, government-funded national program. But think about it. How would you even begin to tackle something that's so deeply ingrained in a culture and do it on a national scale? It sounds almost impossible, right? Well, this proposal has a very, very specific answer. And that answer is this initiative right here, Bhorer Quran. It translates to the non-Quran program. And you can see the proposal doesn't just have an idea. It comes complete with its own logo and branding. That tells you a lot about how organized and clear their vision is for this whole thing. Okay, so here's their four-part strategy, and it's a really fascinating mix. It all starts with Quran-based research, and then using that to determine clear do's and don'ts. But look at that third pillar. This is the one that really stands out to me, legal and religious review. We're talking about seeking opinions from the high court. So you see, this isn't just an education campaign. The goal is to embed their interpretations right into the country's legal framework. And then they launch the big public awareness push. But, a grand vision is one thing. Actually making it happen is something else entirely. And that's where this proposal gets incredibly specific. I mean, they've detailed the structure, the staffing, and yeah, most importantly, the exact budget they believe is needed to make all this a reality. So they've planned their rollout in 3 clear phases. For the first 2 years, the focus is on setting up headquarters in the big divisions and districts. Then, for years 3 to 5, they expand out into the smaller towns and municipalities. And finally, the long-term vision is to have study groups in every ward and village. It's a really interesting strategy. Starts top-down, but then shifts to be completely bottom-up. And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, the plan calls for setting up a staggering 522 offices all across Bangladesh. And get this, that's just in the first 5 years. Now, to run that huge network of offices, they've budgeted for 180 full-time staff members. And we're not just talking about admin support here. This includes a dedicated team of chief researchers, legal minds, and the people needed to do all the public outreach. And that brings us to the bottom line, the big number. The total estimated cost they're asking the government to fund for this ambitious 5-year plan is 90 crore taka. So where does all that money go? Well, if you look at the annual breakdown, it's pretty clear this is a people-centric project. Almost 70%, 69 to be exact, is earmarked for human resources, so salaries. The other 31% covers all the operational stuff. Think office rent, printing publications, and those important legal fees. Okay, so we've got the structure, we've got the budget, but what's the point of it all? What's the ultimate goal? Beyond all the offices and staff, what does success actually look like for the Bhorer Quran program? Well, the plan lays out some very specific targets for the first 5 years. They want to directly enlighten 5 million people, 50 lakh, and publish 50 research papers. But for me, the most critical target is probably this one, securing 5 high court opinions. Why? Because that would give their interpretations real legal weight. It would move them from just being a suggestion to being actual legal precedent. And the long-term ambition? It's even bigger. The ultimate goal is to help foster a society with more religious tolerance, less superstition, a stronger ethical foundation, and a more scientific, knowledge-based approach to religious discussions. Now, it's important to note that the proposal doesn't actually stop with just the Bhorer Quran program. The very same document includes several other pretty significant demands. We're talking about things like reforming school curricula with Quranic verses, protecting what they call Islamic values from perceived threats, and even a call to review the need for a UN Human Rights Office in Bangladesh. So when you put it all together, what we have here is a meticulously planned, heavily funded national project that's aiming for nothing less than a total societal transformation. And that leaves us with a really big question, doesn't it? Is this a detailed blueprint for a more tolerant and just society? Or is it the beginning of a profound national debate about the future of faith in public life?